Hello and welcome to Level Die Flux. Today we're going to be talking about the hit horror film Hereditary. This movie was a trip. I remember we watched it last night, so it's still fresh in our heads. I'm joined today. I totally didn't even. Jesus Christ. Today
Yeah,
I'm
thanks. I've
joined.
been waiting for fucking something.
Holy shit! Today I'm joined by my good friend Quentin. He was with us
Obviously,
on.
honored guest.
Yes. The Fable 2 episode was a hit. So you're an honored guest. I am not worthy. I am not worthy. That actually can kind of tie into what the fuck we're talking about today. So Hereditary. Christ. This is a movie. I mean, it's not scary. I think, it was touted as like this. It's going to be this really scary movie. To me, it wasn't that scary. Movies like this don't really scare me. I mean, the Babadook did, and it's pretty similar to the Babadook. But like, I think the Babadook to me, it just struck like a chord, just like that whole, like the monster was kind of creepy, and it was just like eerie. The whole fucking movie was eerie, and I think the pacing in that movie was like really good, where it was just like there was the slow insanity build of the mom versus the kid.
Right.
And that's what I thought this movie was going to be. I thought this movie was going to be the grand dies, and then the mom sorts like kind of finds something going on in the house, and she starts to go like crazy and maybe like tortures her family, like not like ties them to a chair and tortures them, but like mentally and verbally and stuff. I thought it was going to be like a psychological horror. And I guess it is, but boy, does this movie take so many turns that I was not ready for.
Yeah, you were talking about how, it was presented as like this horror movie and everything, but I went in, you were like last week, hey, I want to record, a movie podcast. We got to watch a movie together. And then I forgot about it. And then yesterday you were like, hey, get in, we got to watch a movie. And I said, oh, shit. Um, So I went in, and then you told me the movie name, and I had not heard about it at all. I have no knowledge about it. I don't really watch TV, so I don't get commercials for anything. So I didn't watch a
Yeah.
trailer or anything. So I had seen nothing about this movie. So when it started, I definitely got the feel that the movie was going to be, not a horror movie, not jump scares,
Yeah,
but
not like a
definitely
traditional horror movie.
it did a very good job of making me feel uncomfortable from the very start.
Yes.
Just feeling like you're out of place and
Yeah, and I
feeling
think
creeped out.
that's like one of the really good things is because some of the film, some of the filmography, like the way that they actually shot it in like the rooms, it makes it look like it's a miniature. So some of the rooms, I kept noticing it where it was like it would do like a shot of a room, and the room would look really small. Like it would look like we're looking inside of a dollhouse because they would do that. They would do the shots of the dollhouse, and then they would do the shots of real life. And I feel like that was one of the things to make you feel sort of enclosed and
Yeah, that's how
uncomfortable.
the movie opens. And even commented about it when it was happening. Was the opening credits were playing, and then it zoomed into this model house, this doll house,
Yeah.
and then it went into the room, and then the scene carried on in that
Right.
room, commenting how good the tripod looked for being a miniature.
Yes, you did. You're like, how do you get a
Uh,
small tripod that good?
and then it
And the
was
fucking movie
definitely
starts.
a real tripod and just camera tricks, but it was a very good camera trick. And then the rest, it's kind of inverted, where it's supposed to be a scene where it's full scale and everyone's walking around, but the way everything's placed, the way all the edges look, it just looks like it could be, the scale's off. It looks like it could be very, very small.
Yeah. So that's one of the big things. So the mom of the movie, I think I would say she's the main character. I would say Peter, the son, is the second main character. And then the dad and the sister, we can talk about her in a minute, are sort of secondary characters. We can kind of.
My true protagonist is Steve.
Is that what you think the true protagonist is, Steve?
Yes, the movie is about Steve and how he just couldn't live with his dysfunctional family.
Fair. I think it's the mom, in my opinion. Um,
The mom's, I think the mom's not really, you think it does follow her through the movie,
yeah,
but she's not really the most important one in the movie.
fair.
Uh,
Yeah, so she is not the most important
she's
character
a vessel for sure
for the
for
actions
the
of the
actual
movie.
events happening. Yeah.
Yeah. So the mother, she has this. It's actually she because they talk about it later in the movie. She actually gets paid to do that. It's not just a hobby. She's an artist,
Hmm.
and that's what her art is. Because what is it called where you take your art to and they display it? What is that called? Uh,
Oh, the guy called her and left a voicemail about her show that's coming up.
yeah, her art show gallery. It's called a
Yeah,
gallery.
gallery.
Her gallery called her and said, hey, I hope you're doing okay, but where's the art? So she actually just like makes these super realistic dollhouses. Like it's a big thing in the movie. She's always seen making these tiny, super realistic miniature like set pieces is a good word. So there's one. I think there's honestly one of their house. There might be, but there's ones of like a little classroom or a car accident. We can talk about that in a minute. And I just like it's a weird
The classroom
thing.
was my favorite, just because all the
The
books, all the
bowling
like
pins. I think the bowling pins.
the pages on everything,
Yeah.
like
Very cool. Whoever did those miniatures in like real life for the movie, props. That was really cool.
props.
Pro- oh,
Props to the props
nice.
department.
Props to the props department. Cool. Well, that was unintentional. So this movie starts slow. It's a slow boil. Grand dies, and the woman, the mother, is having a hard time coping. Because her mom, Gran, was schizophrenic. She was mean, abusive. It seems like, and the mom is sort of torn where obviously when you lose someone, it's heartbreaking. It's hard to lose someone. But sometimes it can be a relief. It can actually feel good when someone in your family is dead. And
Oh,
I think that's a very hard feeling for people because it feels like, why am I not sad? Or why is it that I feel good that this person is dead? And that can really tear somebody up. And that, I believe, is one of the first triggers of this movie. Is that's what is happening inside the mom. So she goes to like a lost counselor group therapy group, and she sort of like lets it all out. Like, I mean, first day she's just like, I need to vent. This is what's happening with me. And you learn that Gran wasn't great. She was really fucked up, to be honest. And as the movie goes on, we start learning more and more towards how fucked up she was. So I think an hour in, I think it's an hour. So we deal with the mom struggling with the loss of Gran, and then the big turn of the movie comes, like the huge turn. So let's break it down. So the son, Peter, wants to go to a party. I mean, should we go into that
well,
much detail?
no,
I mean,
I mean,
somebody's seen this
there's a
movie, right?
lot more before this.
Well,
'Cause
you go because I guess I'm jumping. I don't know. You go.
well, you want to talk because I want to talk too because
Go.
there's a lot to unravel in
There
this
is a
whole
big.
film.
It's a 2 hour
Um,
plus long movie, so there is a
because
lot
you
to
were
talk
talking
about.
about the trouble with dealing with the loss. What if Gam Gam was a cunt? You know, um, what if Gam Gam was a horrible person and
Right.
really care that she died? Because she had a horrible family life. I don't remember what happened to her brother and her sister.
Oh
Um,
shit. Her brother hung himself at 16,
right, and
and her dad
she
is dead too.
she probably blames her mother a lot for
For
that.
sure. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Um,
Yeah.
and so she's taking the loss very differently, and the whole family has been having problems. You learn that later on. So they're all taking it differently, and they're all taking it extremely negatively. The daughter was extremely close with the grandmother. Um,
In a way that bothered the mother,
in a way that
the main
bothered the mother.
character.
Like she was bothered that she thought she was stealing the daughter away from her. Um,
Yes.
the grandma was being like predatory, taking the daughter away. Um, but the daughter was probably the one, grief wise most affected by the loss. You see her, at the funeral is focusing on her face, looking at the body, looking at everything, and that's
Mhm.
when I really got to feel like this was going to be about her. This was going to be about really the mom and the daughter mostly in the movie.
Yeah.
Um, and that's when you get these turns and everything about who the movie's focus on is changing. And at the start, it's definitely the daughter. Um, from the start of the funeral onward, you're thinking this is going to be about her. It's talking about all her problems, talking about her allergies, talking about her fucking bird fetish. Uh,
Jesus. Yeah.
yeah, she's just a weird kid. She plays with toys in class that are made out of trash. Um, you just get really attached to this little girl character and think this whole movie's going to be about her.
Yeah, and in the first 30 minutes after the funeral, you see her like hallucinate her grandma. She sees like apparitions, just Granny standing across the street, or
Hmm.
Granny sitting in a field surrounded by fire. And she took like the head off of a dead bird. She was just like this disturbed little girl.
She kept it. She kept a
She
little
kept
keepsake too.
she kept the
She's
little
carrying it
keepsake
around.
head thing. Oh, Jesus. That was a trip. I was like, oh man, what's gonna happen? And she just like fucking snips the head off with some scissors, and you and I were talking about fucking smashing birds against boats.
Yeah, it was
But
a good talk.
good talk, yeah. So that you took way better notes than me. So why don't you just keep going, and then I'll talk when you run out of stuff to say.
Well, you really wanted to talk about after
Well,
the
shit
the
starts
funeral.
getting wild after
Shit
the
starts
first
getting
45
wild. I
minutes.
thought I really didn't like the pacing. It felt too
Peaks and
copy
valleys.
paste.
Peaks and
Copy paste
valleys for
for
me
horror
with this
movie for
movie.
me. How there was a start of just lull where it makes you just like, what is happening? When's something gonna happen? What's going on? You stop paying attention to all the details, and then all of a sudden something just fucking hits you right there, and it's scary all of a sudden.
Boy,
Um,
doesn't it just hit you
and
right there.
yeah, and that they did a really good job of that, but excuse me, but the pacing was just predictable. But it did affect it absolutely hit me like they intended to, because just how uncomfortable you are all the way up until the point where shit starts getting real
Yeah.
is just the
Yeah, and the thing with the behavior of the daughter is she behaves in an odd way, and it can be kind of uncomfortable because she's acting so odd. Like she does this tongue click thing. Like she would just
at
do that.
uncomfortable moments, yeah, when it's silent. So just
Yeah, she would just like do that,
it's like
and
a
it's like
tick. Yeah, she has a
she can't sit in
an
silence. Like if there's a
uncomfortable
quiet
tick.
moment, you just hear like the tongue click. And so she's an odd girl, and you follow her up to the point where they go to this party. So that's like 45 minutes in. So if you imagine that the movie is 2 hours long, the first 45 minutes nothing happens, not really. I mean, the girl sees some hallucinations, and you're like, okay, so this movie's going to be about like, I don't know, hallucinations, or the daughter is going to talk to Graham, and some weird shit's going to happen. And then we get the first major turn of the movie. So Peter goes to this party, and he's forced to bring his little sister with him. And it's awkward as fuck. Like, could you imagine being
It's
like a 17-year-old teenager and having to take your 11
You're
year
like
old
11, 12
sister?
year old sister to fucking a party where everybody's drinking, having fun. You're wanting to get it on, smoke weed. You're
Yeah.
wanting to fucking bang a babe, but your
Yeah.
mom has made you bring your little sister.
So
And either in you put yourself in either shoes, the sister or the brother.
it
You're
sucks.
uncomfortable. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not a good place to be. It for even people at the party, you're just like, if
For
I
real.
saw this, I'd be like, what? I can't
I'm
have
like, I'm
fun
gonna
with like
leave now. I
yeah.
should not be around children.
Who brought the kid?
Uh,
But it does a really good job of making you feel sick to your stomach.
yeah, like even any yeah, like you said, if you pick any person in this section, like you're gonna be uncomfortable. The brother's uncomfortable because he wants to get it on with the girl. The sister's uncomfortable because she doesn't know anybody, and she says that multiple times. And the people at the party are uncomfortable because there's a little girl here now.
Hmm.
So we get to the party, and it like starts off like okay, like they're like hanging out, everybody's kind of drinking. It's pretty chill, but the brother Peter, he goes up to this hot girl that he's interested in, and he's like, "Hey, I got weed. Let's go up to this back room and get high. Be cool." And she's like, "Okay, I'm fine. Let's go smoke weed." And the sister's like, "Well, I want to come." And he's like, "No, just stay down here. Go get some cake. Go get some cake. They'll give it to you if you go and you ask for it." And so she's like, "Oh, all right." She goes and she gets some cake, and then it shows, Peter smoking weed, and then it shows her eating cake. And then like the tension starts in this scene. So the daughter, I honestly forget her name, like Chris. I think it was Chris, right?
Charlie?
Charlie. There you go. Good shit. You got fucking great notes.
Yeah,
Charlie.
I have a list of the family and what their
Yeah,
fucking association is.
terrific fucking notes. I wrote down 5 bubble points, and they're not very informative.
Because I went 90% of the movie without knowing Steve's name.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Like he's just a side character for a lot of it.
I like one of my notes is because we took the notes live. So one of my notes is what's up with Gran. So not very good notes.
Saggy tit.
Saggy tit. Yeah, it's just some bad notes, right? So the real tension begins because it turns out that there were nuts in the cake that Charlie ate, and Charlie has a deathly nut allergy. So she starts like wheezing a little, and she's just like, "Oh shit!" Like you can see her kind of like she's smart, like so her throat hurts, so she goes and she gets some water, and she's just like having trouble breathing. And then she goes upstairs and she's like, "I'm having a hard time breathing," and they find out that the cake had nuts in it, and so he's like, "Oh fuck." And he takes his sister out of the party, like does good brother stuff. Like he's stoned, but his
Right. So that's what one thing I was like, this would be the worst situation to be in. He's probably hasn't smoked in a while. He's got an overbearing family, and he's probably just trying to mellow out and enjoy the party. And he's probably a little bit high, and his sister comes in having
dude,
an
he was doing
anaphylactic
fat
shock.
bong rips, dude.
Like,
He wasn't just a
yeah.
little high.
He was probably he looked. They did a good job making him look like sweaty and stoned.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
But he's out of it, and I definitely wouldn't be able to deal with the situation. Like we are saying, like just call 911. But like you don't have the capacity to at that point.
Yeah, and you're at a house party.
You get stuck on fixing the situation your way, and it might be putting the pizza in the oven on a fucking paper plate. It might be something a little weird.
Right. So his solution was to just
drive to
him
the
to
hospital. Yeah,
smart.
He had a good situation, but just forgot about his phone. Drive to the hospital. He was on
and
it.
That's a good decision. So they didn't bring an EpiPen, so they needed to get her to a pen. Which, if you go into a hospital, you say she's got a nut allergy and she had nuts, they'll just shoot that bitch right in the waiting room. That'll be it. So he hops her in the car, throws her in the back, and they start driving. And so, oh boy, holy shit. Okay, so they're driving. And so she's having it's very tense. Like the framing and the way that they're shooting it is just perfect for making your heart race. The music is also, I was listening to it, it's at the rate that your heart rate is at. So it's very excruciatingly stressful, this scene, because the music's like do 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 do, like really repetitive. It feels like a heartbeat. And with music like that, your heart matches the tempo of the music. So they made it very stressful for you during this scene, and you're like, oh shit, what's gonna happen? Like, are they gonna kill this girl right now? And she's gonna have like a nut allergy? And so they're driving, and he's just like freaking out. He's like, oh, you're gonna be okay. You're gonna be okay. And she like opens the window and she like sticks her head out because she just cannot breathe. She's having a hell of a hard time. And then it flashes to Peter seeing like a dead deer in the street, and he swerves. It flashes to a utility pole. It flashes to Charlie's face, and then it flashes to just a smack, like a I don't even know how to describe the fucking.
Don't shy away from the fact that you see a 12-year-old girl get her face slammed so hard into a telephone pole at 80 miles an hour.
Miles an hour.
It splits off at the exact moment of impact, but it shows the fucking.
It shows the body like rend back,
punched over body right away.
Yeah.
And then you show a fucking.
So and then he obviously heard that.
No holds barred.
And the really like fucked up part for the next, I would say 15 minutes is it just shows his face. Like, and he has like the most fucked up look on his face, obviously, because he knows something just happened. And he just drives home. And it just shows his face, and he just looks forward. And it literally just frames his face for 3 minutes of him driving home. Nothing else is on screen. I think it did a very
good job of putting you in his shoes for a second, how he can't look back. He
cannot look back.
Bring himself to look back. It's showing him almost look up to the rearview mirror, then look away. Almost look up to the rearview, and then look away.
Yeah.
He just can't.
So, because he didn't want to confirm what happened. He
didn't want to confirm what happened. He didn't want to come to the reality that he just did that.
Yeah. So, it's pretty brutal. So, it's like a scene of them driving home. Excuse me. A scene of them driving home. And then he just gets out of the car. I mean, and you remember again, he is fucking stoned as shit. Like, could you imagine not only having to drive your sister to the hospital? Like, we already talked about that. That would be fucking horrifying. But now you've just accidentally murdered your sister. So, yeah, I don't know if I'd be able to handle that if I was fucking ripped. So,
in a way that there's nothing left, like. He knows he either decapitated or her face is smashed beyond all repair. He knows
because she's silent now.
Sight. Yes, he knows that it's not going to be a good thing to look at for anybody.
For sure. So it just shows. It doesn't show us the body either. That's the thing, right? That's a thing that puts us in Peter's shoes. We see the thwack. He slams the brakes. But we never see the body. He gets out of the car. He walks into the house.
Well, we saw the body for a little bit.
Well, no, we saw Did we? I just remember.
Like not in his view, like turning around and seeing the blood and everything.
Okay.
But I thought it saw her like hunched over.
Maybe we did, but we don't get like the big image of what happened until after. So he goes inside, he lays down, and they just show his face, and he's just like has the blankets over his head, and he's just laying there wide-eyed all night. And then we get the audio cue that the next day has come, and his mom is gonna go to work.
You hear the mom and dad, they're getting
talking. Ready. They get up. It's like, okay, I'm gonna go to the store or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you hear her like walk out, and he tenses up. Like you can actually visibly see that he knows what's coming, and you know what's coming, and the mom does not know what's coming. And she gets in the car, and you just hear.
Well, I thought that was done really well. How, like, you hear the door open, you hear her kind of walk, you hear her gasp at the sight, because the window was open and she was leaning out of the car. So that's what she would see is, like, the blood all over the side of the car first.
Yeah.
So she does like a first initial gasp, and you hear the car open, and then you hear her fucking wail.
Wail,
And
dude, is a really
like
good word for it.
and it's just his face only.
That's it.
The whole
That's
entire
all
time.
you see. That's the whole scene. Is just
I thought that scene was very good actually, where
I liked it too.
all you fucking see is just him being uncomfortable and just like
knowing what's coming,
knowing what's happening as it's happening.
and because that's us. We're we know what was coming too. Like, we know somebody has to find out about this. Like, obviously, so that happens, and then we get the most difficult, in my mind, cut of the entire movie, and it's like, I would say like less than 45 seconds long. It's like 20 seconds long. It just cuts to the freeway in the middle of the day, and just the head of Charlie covered in ants, mauled up, just on the side of the road. It just like, and then it cuts back to the movie. And I was just like, oh my fucking God, dude. Like, did you really have to do that to me? So that was brutal. And then the scene right after that is even more brutal, because it's just the mom, and you were like, this is way too real. She's just bent over in the room screaming, I just want to die. I just want to die. And I can't do it justice without like waking up the entire house. But I mean, just imagine. I mean,
yeah, it's like 7 a.m. right now.
It was like the purest heartbreak that I have ever fucking seen. Like, it was so real, dude. Like, the dad is like rubbing her back and like holding on to her, and she's just on all fours on the ground screaming like, how could this happen? I miss my daughter. I just want to die. Just let me die.
It's almost not a movie. Like, that's how a real mom would react to losing her daughter.
Yeah. Especially in such a fucked up way.
She's such a good actress with her just depth of emotion she has. She pulled that from somewhere real.
For sure. That was hard, because like, you can tell. I don't know. I just felt like I felt really in it in that moment, and it really like struck me, because it felt like real emotion. It felt like we all just witnessed child loss. It was brutal. It was fucking brutal. And then they do like the tiny baby grave. Ooh. And like, she's like wailing at that too. Oh my God, dude. Brutal. And then that's the first like major event of the movie. Well, Grand's death is the first major event of the movie, but Charlie's death is like the real turning point for where this movie's going to go, because I didn't fucking expect that at all.
No, I thought that's what I'm saying. I thought the movie was going to be about Charlie.
Right.
But then Charlie got her head knocked off by a fucking utility pole, and it wasn't about Charlie anymore.
Yeah. And so then it starts becoming about the mom and Peter. And we follow the mom again. And the mom goes to another group, like the same group. This is just like a scene I remember. She goes to the group, and she just like turns around. She's like, I can't do it. Like, I just lost my daughter. My grand's dead. And, all this shit's like fucked up. My life is fucked
yeah,
up.
we didn't even talk about her support group. Like, I forgot she went
I mentioned it
one time before. You did, because she was talking about. Okay, you did. We talked about it. Never mind. Yeah. I'm forgetting things about this movie already.
It's 7 a.m.
We're unraveling it after being very confused about it.
Dude, this movie's confusing. It's I didn't look up anything.
I don't think either of us had said how we feel about this movie yet.
Okay, well, let's do it. 30 minutes in, how did you feel about the movie? And then we'll continue.
I super enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. It just got a little out of it at the end. I don't know what happened. I'm sure I would if I knew a little bit more about the imagery.
Yeah.
But up until that point, I'm just unsatisfied with the ending because I didn't understand it. But like, what I felt.
That's literally what Mike said last night.
Yeah, what I felt through the whole movie was, genuine. I was scared. I was uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I felt for the daughter. It was a good movie. It did a very good job. I had no loose ends anywhere. Anything it mentioned, like the allergies, tied into the allergies.
Dude, they mentioned those allergies, and it came back in a big way.
Yeah, well, yeah, that one was, of course, they had to mention allergies for that.
Obviously.
But much smaller ones tying into it. It's just like everything was not open-ended. When they do a little seed of lore or something, it's gonna come back. Like the highlighted pages that she finds,
Yeah.
of course, those come back.
Pictures, all that shit. The
Yeah,
symbol, her necklace, all that.
there's no like, oh, who the fuck was that? Like,
Yeah. And
well,
I like that.
maybe. Only thing is at the funeral, Grandma's funeral, there was like a guy with the stupid haircut who gave Charlie a creepy smile.
Yeah.
Uh,
I remember that. Yeah.
and I don't think we saw him again, unless we saw he was one of the people at the very end.
Oh yeah, he may have been one of those people. We can.
I think he
talk
might have been. I didn't look at their haircuts,
that.
and also it was very dark. I couldn't
It
see.
was very dark. I was watching it on my laptop.
But he could have been one of those. But
yeah, that. So my opinion is, I was always wondering what was going on. Like I always, me and you were talking. I was
right,
like, okay, so I was like, okay, so the mom's
maybe
the bad
it's this,
guy.
Maybe it's this, right?
Yeah, I was like,
Right.
okay, so maybe Charlie's the bad, or the vessel for the spirit, or Grand's gonna be a ghost, or the mom's gonna kill the family. Like I was like, oh, it's gonna be Steve. I just kept like going through, like, because I had no fucking clue. I had no idea where this movie was gonna go. The only reason I wanted to watch this movie is because I saw a picture of someone just standing in a house on fire. And I was like, okay, I need to know what this movie's about because that is really strange imagery. I need to know what happens with this person on fire. So we watched the movie. I had no fucking clue about it. Just like you. I mean, I was shocked when Charlie died. And then I'm shocked when all this shit that we're about to talk about happens. I was confused. I don't exactly understand the ending. I'm going to try my best to talk about it when we get to it. But we didn't look up anything. I scrolled like an article like for 5 seconds to just see some of the words that were mentioned. But yeah, man, there's some shit that goes on. But it was good. I liked it. I mean, it wasn't scary, but it was uncomfortable. I think would be the best word for this movie. It was just nonstop uncomfortable. And a little shocking. I would say shocking is a good word too.
I don't watch a lot of horror movies or thriller movies because they genuinely make my heart race. I'm bad with scary things.
Yeah.
Watching that, like I was on edge. I did the little. I'm in my rolly chair, so I tucked my knees into my chest, and I tucked my knees into my chest and kind of hugged them there for a little bit sometimes because it was on edge, like. The music, you were right, it was making my heart race. It was matching to the actual bass of the fucking beats.
Hell
they did a real good job.
Good sound design right there.
Yeah.
So, all right. So the head gets knocked off. We have the baby funeral.
Baby funeral, and then everybody's sad.
Everybody is sad.
Or
when
mad.
she goes to her second group meeting, I'm probably skipping a bunch of shit, but I just remember this is the next set of turn of events. I mean,
and us thinking a new
plot line.
A new plot is happening. Hey, fucking cats.
So she goes to the group and she turns around and she's heading out to leave. And this woman comes up and she's like, hey, I was at the group a few months ago because obviously, and they're giving us a timeline of how long it's been. So within a few months of Grand dying, her daughter died too. So pretty fucked. Like that's a lot to handle as a human. So this woman goes, hey, if you need to talk to anybody, here's my number. I lost my son and my grandson in a drowning accident.
Died in the pool.
Was it the pool? Is that what it was?
Yeah, she just said they drowned.
Yeah, they drowned. So they probably, fell into the ocean or something. Who knows? Just fell off the edge of the world because the world is flat. I'm doing it. I'm a flat earther. I have now lost all credibility for this podcast. We should just stop it now. So, because if you need anybody, call me. And we get like, okay, cool. So she's going to hopefully get some help one-on-one from this person who like literally went through the same thing as her. And they start talking and they start spending time together and just sort of talking to each other about the loss that they've had. Oh, dude, there was a detail that they gave you, a little thread that they gave you that I didn't remember until just now. So when she goes to Joanne's house, the person that she met that gave her phone number that she started talking to, her name was Joanne. Dude, when she goes to Joanne's house for the first time, she looks at the placemat and she goes, "Oh, my mom used to stitch things just like this." And she's like, "Oh, isn't that weird?" And you don't think anything of it until, I mean, obviously right now, because I didn't think about it during the movie, but they literally give you a spoiler to close to the end of the movie right then. Did you notice that?
Well, yeah. Well, she just says, my mom used to make something like this.
Right, but that means that her mom stitched that for Joanne, and that's
Right, because she goes up to the attic and she's looking through all the stuff and she finds more of those placemats.
yeah.
And she's like,
That's at the
this is
fever
it.
pitch, though. That's in the last
Right.
20 minutes. But yeah, so they
But
start.
you're not supposed to. You're supposed to be like, oh, maybe they knew each other.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even.
Something.
It just went right over my head until just now. I don't know. My notes were bad. I only have 3 more bubble points, and they're equally as shitty as "What's Up with Gran Gran." So they start communicating, and then we get the second big turn, in my opinion, of the movie. Joanne goes, "Hey, I went to a seance the other night and I talked to my dead grandson." And the mother is, what is her name? The mom?
Annie.
Is that what her name is? Annie?
Yeah, her name's Annie.
Annie. Let's stop
Joanne
saying the
said it all
mother.
time. Annie, oh my God, Annie, it's so good to see you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We met like Joanne's.
When Joanne came out in the parking lot and she was like Oprah excited. She was
She was like, "Oh my God, the ritual can continue."
You get a dead son, you get a dead daughter, you get a dead mom.
Fucking delicious. My wife just brought in some homemade oatmeal.
No, if you're taking
Incredible.
bites, I have had my breakfast sitting here for a while.
Take a bite. So, yeah, she is a little too excited. But I mean, but it's also like that bonding thing. She's just like happy to see the person that they've been both communicating with. And it's just nice to have that connection, especially in such a hard time for both of them. So
Right.
she goes, "Okay, I went to a seance. I communicated with my dead grandson. You should do it." Okay, I was a skeptic. I know you're a skeptic. Who isn't a skeptic? Like, seances, fuck that, dude. Me and you were talking while we were watching this. I was like, dude, if you do a seance, like, I'm not allowed to do one. Like, my wife would never let me do a seance in our house. Fuck no. Because if you do a seance, I honestly believe that you're only bringing in bad shit. Like, it is, what's the most easily accessible thing in the dark world? It's evil. So, not kosher. It's not kosher shit that you're bringing in and you're communicating with. It is bad things in my mind. So,
Yeah,
she's like,
it's like you see someone on the other side of the window and you're just gonna open it to let them in, but you were on a fucking submarine, and then you just let in everything else.
holy shit, that's an incredible metaphor. Yeah. That's that gives me tingles. That's good. That was very good. Fucking, I got to remember that. I can make that the tagline for the episode. That was fucking sweet.
Sure, you'll let in what was on the other side of the window.
But you also let in 1 billion kajillion gallons of salt water, and everyone in the submarine dies.
Yeah.
That was good. That was real good.
And that's what they did. That's what the seance did.
Fucking compliments to you, Quentin. Brain's working this morning. Holy shit. Sharp.
Only one time out of fucking...
1 in a million. 1 in a million. So she's like, this is fucking bullshit. But she's like, hey, Joanne says, come to my house and I will show you. And so Annie goes to the house. Joanne shows her some shit that she was not expecting to see. She put like this cup on this table and they both put their hands on it. Classic Ouija board style, right? Hey, if you're here, move the cup. Cup fucking moves. Like, moves out of their hands. Moves. And she's like, oh my God. Annie's just like, what the fuck? And Joanne's just like, yes, Charlie, or whatever the fuck your name is. You're here.
Oh, her little boy. What was her little boy's name?
I don't know, like Nelson or something. Something lame.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh my God, Nelson, you're here. You're here. Move it again if you're here." And it just like slides like a foot across the table. And Joanne and Annie
She's
is
like,
just like,
oh,
she's like,
we're
"Oh
so
my
good. Oh
God!"
my God, little Timmy.
And it's
Yes.
like it's the thing is it could be like if you wrote it, framed it, and shot it, it could be a really happy thing that's happening right now. But I'm going to tell you right now, that scene is supposed to fill you with dread because Joanne is just like twitching and freaking out, and she like looks under the table to see if there's a magnet and see if like Joanne is like tricking her, and it doesn't
And Annie
frame
is
this
not
scene.
uncomfortable at all with the situation, but Joanne is like so excited to talk to her dead fucking grandson.
Yeah, dude. And then the turn comes where she just like puts a chalkboard on the table, puts a piece of chalk on it, and says, "Write something, Nelson," and just goes, "I love you, Grandma." And you just watch it write, and Annie is just like freaking the fuck out. Like this could have been a really happy scene. Like it could have been, okay, cool. We're gonna communicate with Charlie, and it's gonna be hunky dory, and the movie's gonna have like a happy ending. Great. We know they're gonna adjust and the movie's gonna end. Great. But like they framed it and shot it in a way that fills you with nothing but dread. Like I was like, oh no, oh no. She's gonna try and seance with Charlie. I was like, I said it out loud. I was like,
Yeah,
this is the turn. I was like,
and
she's
it's
gonna
framed in
Ouija
such a
board
way that
Charlie.
you don't want that to happen. You don't want them to Ouija board anybody in.
Yeah. And I was
Because
just like,
lights
this
are
is
flickering, things are like moving that shouldn't be moving. It's
yeah.
just
Like
it's all bad.
strong spiritual shit is
Worlds are
happening.
connecting that shouldn't be connecting.
Yeah, bad news. So
And Annie understands it, but
in a
what
way,
I thought was interesting is Joanne, they make a little cue that Joanne has been doing this all the time since the seance happened. She's like, okay, I brought your chalkboard again.
yes,
Like, we're going to do it just like we've been doing.
yes.
And she knows it so well. She's talking.
If
She
you
was
look at the chalk
explaining how to do
is
it.
like super small.
Right. There's barely any left.
Yeah,
And she's explaining how to do it to Annie as she's leaving, as Annie's trying to get the fuck out of there.
yeah. Because she's like, I need to leave. Like this is way too much for me.
Right, and the
starts
way
to get
she
out of the house.
explains it, it sounds like it's second nature to her. She's
Yeah,
done
she's
it
like,
a
just do
million
this.
times.
You
Right.
know. And so she goes home, and then we don't really like, and then it stops with that, and it kind of focuses on Peter for a little while, and sort of his slow slip into mania. He's having a hard time, clearly.
Yeah.
So
Peter's
he's starting to
family is
see
all
visual
falling
hallucinations.
apart.
He's starting to hear things, and he's starting to have nightmares. So like sometimes he'll just be like laying in bed, and he'll just hear that, or he'll be like walking around in the hallways at school, and that is an auditory hallucination. That's not good.
The
So
next time he smoked weed, he had a panic attack.
yeah, he smoked weed with his boys under the bleachers, and we were talking like that conversation is super real. Like
I
one
like
of the
that.
dudes is like freaking
That was a
out.
little thing. When he's smoking weed with his friends at school under the bleachers, it's like all focused on him, and his friends are kind of blurry in the background, but you can still hear them talking. And they're talking about, they're like gossiping about a friend and everything. And they're like, yeah, he went down and he had couscous, what is it?
Couscous, dude, it's couscous.
Couscous, bro. And like their conversation is just such a real, down to earth conversation that their friends would have in high school, and it was just,
Which I
it-
liked. I
it
really
made
felt like it was a
feel-
kid's
yeah.
conversation.
it was
you know,
really
like-
immersive.
I was like, what the
able-
fuck? Yeah, dude, because I barely know what couscous is, and I had some last month. Like, I'm just like, is it like rice? And like, that's what their conversation was.
It's like
It was
a
just
grain. Yeah.
yeah, they're like, is it like rice? Couscous, and it was just great. But like, he's like panicking, and then he's like, oh my god, I think my throat's closing up. I think my throat's
Yeah,
I'm having trouble breathing.
Because he starts crying, and I think he's trying to like. Well,
Yeah.
maybe that's part of the panic attack. Is he's doing what his sister did?
Yeah, he feels like his throat's closing up, even though like
Mhm.
it's just weed. He's not allergic to it. He smoked it earlier. He's just having a bad trip, and we spend a lot of time on Peter right now, and we watch him.
That's another thing. We thought it was going to be Charlie. Then we thought it was going to be Annie.
Right
Now we think it's going to be Peter.
Now we think it's going to be Peter because we spend like 20 plus minutes just like watching just disturbing audio and visual hallucinations. Like one of them was he was laying in bed and he was like trying to fall asleep, and then he like looks up and Charlie is in like the corner of, and this is where we get to the seance, like right here, and he sees Charlie. And then she like looks at him and he's like, "Oh my God, Charlie, is that you? Are you okay?" And then like her head just like falls off and like it turns into a ball. Like very good visual effect and editing. Just great. Thanks, sweetie. I love you. And then like he's like, and then his mom rushes in and she's like, "What's going on? What's happening?" And he's like, you were yelling. You know, you were having a nightmare. Like, what's up?" And he's just like, "I just saw Charlie. I'm having a bad time. Like, what the fuck is going on?" And she's like, "Okay, you know what? Now's the time. Come downstairs. I want to show you something. And don't tell your dad about Charlie." And fucking, they go in. She's like, "Wake Steve up. Steve, the fucking hero. Just like put up with a lot of shit, man. Steve, props to you. I mean, you handled a lot."
I mean, this is the first time we really hear Steve do anything is after this. But like Steve, up until this point, has just been the dad. He's been there at the table.
A pillar.
He's been just going to work while all this shit's going down to keep the money rolling in.
Money rolling in and to keep himself sane. I mean, it's his daughter too.
Right.
You
When
know?
something happens at school, he's the one to pick them up. He's holding down the fucking fort while all this is going down. And I really had a heart for Steve because he's keeping his family as close as he can in the situation he's given until the ball starts rolling and he's like, "I don't deserve this."
Dude, he literally like, because he knows. So one of the big things, we actually get this information, actually before we get to Peter's section, we find out that Annie sleepwalks. And she has a history of sleepwalking. And one of the times she was sleepwalking, when Peter and Charlie shared a room a few years ago, she walked in, and she didn't know that any of this happened. She walks in, and, well, no, actually, the way that they say it in the movie is she wakes up, and what she sees is her daughter, her son, and herself covered in paint thinner, and she has a lit match in her hand. So she almost, like, striking the match, she says this in the movie, is what woke her up. And her kids wake up, and they're, like, screaming and freaking out. And she, like, puts the match out, and she's like, "Oh, it's okay. Mama's just tired." And, you know, Peter, she says that Peter always held this against her. Like, that, you know, Peter is an asshole because he almost got lit on fire by his mom and he took it to heart. Like, I think anybody would be fucking disturbed by that.
Peter has a little bit of a point there.
Yeah. And we actually get this scene before we get to Peter, I'm pretty sure, or it's like it's in the mix of like Peter and Annie and right before the seance. Annie walks into Peter's room and she's like, they're like just talking to each other, and Peter says, "Why do you hate me? Why do you hate me?" And he goes, and Annie says, "Because I didn't want to have you." And she goes and like puts her hand on her mouth. And he's like, "What do you mean? What do you mean you didn't want to have me?" And he's like, "I tried to kill you." And he's like, what are you talking about? And she's like, "I tried to have a miscarriage. I tried everything to get rid of you as a baby inside me." And it's just like this horrifying scene. Like, I was just like, oh my fucking God.
Oh, I gotta write that down to fucking talk about that later.
Okay,
that scene,
you write that down.
She said something in that scene that was totally a fucking tie-in.
Oh, was it? Okay. Well, you can. I'll finish the scene and then you can tell me what this fucking tie-in is. Or you going to talk about it later?
Well, because the grandma's fucking grand plan, you know.
Oh my God. Right, because she was
said,
like, "Grandma made me
have
you."
Right.
Oh
shit! Fucking grandma did. It was
oh my God. She should have killed that baby, dude.
She tried to, but
oh my God. So then, she just like lights on fire and then wakes up. So that was from, and that wasn't from Peter's point of view. That was from fucking Annie's point of view, because when
Right,
she
she was
wakes
having a
up,
dream,
it shows
yeah.
her waking up. So that means that those are her real thoughts, and that's her real past. That means she did try to kill Peter. That she fucking did not want to have him. And so this is when the seance happens. She gets up. She wakes Peter up. She's like, hey, let's go downstairs. Party time. Steve, get up. We're going to do some weird shit. They go downstairs. There's a fucking candle on the table. They got the cup out. And she's like, okay, I tried this earlier. It's your time, your guys' time to see this shit. So she does the ritual. She's like, everybody put your hands on this cup. Charlie, come here. Talk to us. Slide this cup. Fucking slides like 2 feet across the table. Like Charlie's in the house.
Like Charlie just smacked it. Charlie was like, all right.
Party time. So this happens. Steve, not having it. He is unhappy about this. He is a skeptic. He does not want to be here. He is very unhappy that he's having to witness this right now.
And very unhappy that his son is freaking out.
Yes,
Still
and
trying to protect
Peter
his family.
is having a
Still trying to
very
protect his family and not fucking divulge in his crazy wife's antics.
yes, because Annie is known to have mental issues, schizophrenia, stuff like that, because her mom had it. It's hereditary. But the thing is Peter has a very bad reaction. He immediately starts panicking. He is panicking. And Annie does not see this at all. She is just like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, she's
We're
like,
summoning
talk to
Charlie.
Talk to Charlie.
Yeah. And so she puts like a notebook. Does she actually fill the notebook out, or does it stop before that? It stops before that. The spirit actually goes inside of Annie, and Annie starts talking like a little girl, and not like baby talk voice. Like it's literally Charlie's voice coming out of Annie's mouth, and Peter's just like, what the fuck, fuck, like freaking out, and Steve is just like she's like, hey Annie, stop this shit, what are you doing? And he goes and he gets a glass of water and he splashes it on her face, and it just stops. The seance just ends. And like Peter is just mind broken. He is fucked. I mean, because he said, I feel like I'm being haunted by like a mean spirit, something like that. I'm not doing it any justice. But Annie's just like, well, what happened? Like, did we talk to Charlie? Like, she doesn't even fucking know that she was speaking in Charlie's voice. Steve, pissed. Like, he is so pissed. And rightfully so. She was disturbing the kid. She was disturbing like the spirit of their dead daughter. I don't know, man. If you're going to do a seance and you're going to talk to a dead relative, everybody needs to be down to do it. Because some people are not going to be okay with touting out and putting on display the spirit of a dead loved one. Just saying. So Steve was not in it.
Consent before covenant.
Yeah. Consent before seances, man. So that is like a big turn. We get like this, okay, she can commune with spirits that are past. And I'm like, okay. I said it out loud. I was like, all right, so they're going to try and commune with Charlie, and Grand's going to come back, and she's going to haunt the shit. Like, that's what my idea was. That did not happen. I was wrong every step of the way on what the fucking plot of this movie was. So, what happens after the seance? I think there's a blank spot in my memory.
Well, that's when he's going to school.
Oh, he starts having wicked hallucinations.
And he starts seeing the light that we didn't even mention that everyone's been seeing. There's a blue kind of light that will manifest in a ring and kind of hone into something it wants its target to look at. I haven't figured out what the fuck the light was exactly yet. But it would manifest on the object it wants people to see, and then they go to it. But Peter was getting this light at school, and he's convinced that it's a vengeful spirit,
yeah,
attempting to lure him away and attack him, and He's very freaked out over this fucking light that's following him around.
Yeah, wouldn't you be?
And he has like a straight up panic attack in class where he's like screaming, crying in the hallway. That's what his dad says. You don't see it, but
Yeah.
um, he's trying to. The dad picks him up and is calling the mom and telling her about it. Steve, my boy, picking up the son.
Yeah. And we just get like a series of events of just like showing how everyone is sort of slipping into mania. Like the mom is clearly gone. And the thing is you can, because you know that she has mental issues like schizophrenia, which schizophrenia is wild. It is all sorts of hallucinations, man. I have heard a lot about schizophrenia. Dude, you can see all the things that the mom was seeing. You can just see that. It doesn't mean it's real. So I was thinking the whole time, like, okay, here's what the turn of the movie is. The mom is actually just going crazy, and she's just going to kill the rest of the family. So like she starts seeing like Charlie's drawing book, like just filling pages out, just tons and tons and tons and tons of drawings, like all this shit. She just keeps seeing shit. Like we're in like the last, I would say, 45 minutes of the movie, and it is just a fever pitch of one thing after another that
Yeah,
we're
it's
seeing.
like they lit a barrel on fire and rolled it down a hill, and you're supposed to follow it along.
Yeah.
That's the last 45 minutes of the movie. It picks up.
It goes fast. It goes real fast. So like it shows Annie go to Joanne's house. Joanne is locked out of Annie's locked out of Joanne's house. She's not there. But like she looks at the placemat and she's like, what the fuck? And then she like looks in and she doesn't see anything, and then she leaves, and then it scoots us into the house of Joanne, and you see a picture of Peter, a shrine, and one of Charlie's toys that she played with in class. And Annie doesn't see this, but we see it. And it's just like, what the fuck is going on here? And she rushes home. She's like digging through books and shit. She sees like a photo album of her mom, Gran, with Joanne back in the past, fucking doing weird shit. And they all have like these necklaces on that have like a symbol.
So yeah, from the start, the grandma's wearing a necklace that has a symbol. That's I'm looking at it, it's the real symbol for this fucking thing.
For Paimon?
For Paimon, yeah.
Yeah.
And she's wearing it from the beginning of the movie as a necklace, and the daughter sees it. And that's when the fucking big Dolph Lundgren looking motherfucker does the creepy smile.
Oh, yeah.
But then you see it on the wall on that shrine. You see that symbol. You see it on the cover of some of the books when she's going through Grandma's old dresser. It just keeps popping up everywhere.
And you see the words like host and spirit and ritual and sacrifice and summon. And then like you're just like, okay.
And this is all coming at you real fast right after she goes to Joanne.
Super fast. It's a fever pitch. We're fucking in it now.
Because you were convinced that she was, schizophrenic and Joanne didn't exist. She was
I was.
Her schizophrenia.
Yeah.
Like maybe that was an apartment she rented for herself and she's been going to it.
I did think that.
Like a split personality kind of thing. Maybe she was Joanne.
Yes.
No, Joanne was real. I knew that from the beginning that Joanne was real. But I didn't know what the fuck they were using her for.
Right.
But then you find out that she actually knew her mother and they were friends. They're in all the pictures in the album together. And there's a lot of like weird symbolism in the picture album.
Imagery, yeah.
Yeah. Like it's like not necessarily a wedding, but the grandma's in like a gown and getting showered with riches. So obviously the grandma was very important in this this fucking, group of friends that there's a photo album for.
Yeah. And so she tries to explain this to Steve. Steve's not having it.
Steve is not having it. Steve is being trying to be a level-headed individual, the only one in
and
the
trying not
house.
to like slip into his wife's mania. And then we get like she goes, okay, I got to burn the drawing book, and she like throws it in the fire, and the book starts to burn, and then Annie's arm starts to light on
Well,
fire.
yeah, that happened like a while ago. Like
Did it?
she's telling Peter, yeah, like I know how to stop this. I can do it. I'm the only one who can stop this. I
Oh
think
yeah.
this might have
Okay.
happened before or after that. But then she starts
Yeah,
burning
I'm
the
jumping
book while
around.
Steve's asleep on the couch.
Yeah.
That's we were like people are getting picked off, and I'm thinking Steve's gonna die in the worst way. I thought he was gonna die just taking pills and dying on the couch,
Yeah. Yeah.
which was gonna
So,
be
yeah, she tries to burn this drawing book, but she lights on fire, and it's like, oh shit, okay. So the magic drawing book definitely has some shit going on with it. And then so she stomps it out, and she stops being on fire. So you're like, okay, so whoever throws this book in the fire is going to light on fire. Like, so you can't really do it. And then Peter is again slipping more and more into mania, just losing his mind. His mom is doing the same. She smashes all of her dollhouses. She is on the verge of a huge mental break. She spends most of her time sleeping out in the little treehouse. Every night, Steve sleeps alone. Peter is just having nightmares every night. There was like a nightmare where like his mom was pulling on his head, and that may have been real. The mom may have
no,
been
because it
trying
came
to.
from like under the couch or
Yeah, under the bed.
under his bed.
Yeah, but then like the mom's like, "Oh my god, you're screaming! Fucking, are you good?" So shit is just like popping off. Like I literally couldn't even goddamn follow the fight. Another good fucking metaphor, Quentin. The fiery barrel down the fucking hill. I could not follow it. It was fast, fiery, and I couldn't catch up to it. So we get oh fuck, like where do I go with here? What happens
Can we
first?
pause for a second?
Yeah, let me pause.
Okay.
I think yeah. Okay, no, I hit pause. I didn't stop the recording. Okay, that's why I was fucked up. All right. So I don't really know where to go from here. Try like what break me down what events happen in what order.
After the fucking barrel starts rolling.
Yeah, because we're at the point where the
So we
next like
start
10 things are just fast and that movie is fucking over.
right. So Annie starts figuring shit out. She starts connecting dots. She tries to get help from Joanne, so she goes to Joanne's apartment, and then she, looks at the mat and starts thinking about it and starts placing the two and two together, and then she runs up and she's going to check her grandma's things to look at her old mats. And so she does, and she sees the old mats and everything that match, and then she finds the book that has Joanne in the picture and everything.
Yeah.
And then so she's going to go upstairs into the attic to get something.
Okay.
And then when she does, she's immediately hit with like flies
and smell.
and smell, and she recoils back, and then when she climbs up there, we see a dead body up there,
Headless.
a headless dead body up there. And you're sure it's Gam Gam because at this point we've seen the crime of the grave being dug up, I think.
Yes, we
We've
see
seen
actually
that.
we see it right after that.
Right. So we see the crime of the grave being dug up, then we see Gam Gam's body. And then
She
after
tells
that
Steve,
she starts trying to tell Steve what happened.
and Steve goes,
So while that was happening, we see Peter freaking out more.
You got it.
He starts seeing the light more, and then Peter's so fucking done. He's like just a mindless drone walking. Everything's just blurry behind him to represent that like he can't really see what's going on. Represent to us that he's so out of it. Like we don't hear it. We only hear like the faint buzzing of like the children around him and stuff like that. And is it
That's when he slams his head on the desk.
Have we seen Joanne yell at him before that though?
This is like right around. I think before that, yeah.
So before that, we see Joanne. We don't know if it's like an apparition or not, or something he's seeing. because no one else is looking at it.
Yeah.
He's out in the schoolyard, and across the street, Joanne's yelling at him these words that like we've been seeing on the wall written on the houses. We see all these little like words that they're written in English, but they're like obviously what do you want to say? They're like spells, they're fucking spell words,
incantation words.
Yeah, all these runes and shit everywhere, but they're spelt out to where you can actually read them, like Zatoni and Zazus. I wrote them down, and I gotta go burn this later.
Oh yeah, dude, you got a dark book in your house now.
I was seeing them in my notes, and I'm like, fuck, that's probably like the order I was supposed to write them down too.
Oh, don't write any weird spells down. Oh fuck.
But she's yelling those words at him, and she's like, I invoke you. Like you're.
I banish you. I invoke you. Zazzle, Zimzom, Zabbity boop.
And she starts saying that after we had seen Annie pick up and read some stuff from her grandma's chest.
Yeah.
That was real dark imagery, Satan stuff.
Summon a demon. Put it inside
Summon a
your family
demon.
member.
You only see one page. And neither of us were really familiar with any of this book of Abraham.
Stop saying the magical words, dude.
Yeah,
you're fucking freaking me out. You're gonna make my laptop fucking snap my hand off or something.
Of, like the Lesser King of Solomon and things like that. It's not necessarily religious text. From what I'm reading on Wikipedia, it's like a really old German religious text.
Oh boy, those guys were dark. You know what they did,
dark.
Right?
They were real dark and really into magic.
Fucking Germans.
And this is all about invoking it. She ends up on the page of Paimon. So
one of the seven kings of hell, Paimon.
Right, one of the seven kings of hell, and it's all about how many are there total?
12, I think, or 7. There's 7. Well, they say one of the 7
kings and dukes.
No,
because like
you're freaking me out.
This is supposed to, right?
Yeah, fuck yeah. So then she goes, "Hey, Steve, there is a dead fucking body in the attic." And Steve's like, "No, there's not, you crazy bitch. You're making this up. You're going crazy." And she's like, "Please, just look in the attic." And he's like, "Fuck, fine." And he climbs up there. And I'm like on edge. I'm like, dude, she's extra fucked now. And he gets up there. He's like, "Oh my God, there's a goddamn dead body up here." And he comes down. He's like, "Did you dig up your grandma?" And she's like, No, I didn't dig up my grandma. My mom. And it's like, did she not? Because I'm still on like this thought.
Yeah, you're on Steve's side at this point. You're like, this bitch is crazy.
Yeah, you're like, dude, she's literally like trying to do some dark. Like, I kept thinking that she was the catalyst for this, but I think Joanne was the catalyst for all of this, and so was Grand.
We can go into that once we finish this plot synopsis of what happened.
Well, yeah, Jesus Christ,
because that's all at the end, tying it all together.
Jesus,
because you're right. Joanne had a way bigger part than
we thought.
Yeah.
So then she comes down. She's like, "Look, okay, I can stop the haunting." She has the book in her hand, the drawing book, and she's like, "I'm just gonna throw this in the fire, Steve. Okay, I'm the only one who can do it. If I throw this book in the fire, Steve, the spirit will go away. But
Well, no, she's like, I can't do it because it'll light me on fire. I'm gonna die. I need you to throw it in.
No, she says she's the only one that can do it. No, because she says goodbye. She says, "I'm gonna light on fire." Because if you remember watching it, she's the one.
She hands him the book and tells him to do it.
But she does it.
Because he won't do it. He says
right,
halfway through and says like, "I'm not going to indulge in your fantasies anymore."
Yeah, she goes, "Oh, fuck off, Steve," and she grabs it. Oh my God, dude! She grabs this book, and we know what's going to happen. She's going to throw it in, and she's going to light on fire, like because we've already been.
We saw her do it, and we saw her light on fire. That's what she's trying to get Steve to do it because she can't do it because she'll get hurt, and
she's going to die.
She wants him to just throw the whole thing into the fire.
Yeah, and they put like
she can't do it,
fuel on it to make it burn faster.
Mm-hmm.
So she grabs that out of his hands and goes, "Fuck this, I'll do it myself." She chucks it in the fucking fire, and Steve just bursts into flames. Like, it is the most. I was just like, no fucking way. What the fuck?
I was so shocked because like I liked Steve a lot, and especially at that point when he's like, this is unhealthy for you for me to keep indulging in this. We need
Yeah,
to
because
get
he
you
does
help.
think that she's going crazy.
Right. And he's like, Steve is my man. He is the Rock.
Yeah.
And then he just bursts into flames.
Dude, and that was the picture that I saw. It is literally like she just like stands and she just like looks at Steve getting fucking
Just
burned
fucking
alive by
murdered.
magical flames. And I mean, the movie just keeps going. So like Steve is just dead now. The mom, I don't really remember what the mom like. Dude, I literally like I blinked and like the movie was over. So what happens after the fire?
That's some kind of trigger for more paranormal shit to happen.
Right.
And then she's suddenly not the mom anymore. Annie's suddenly not Annie.
Oh right, because she does like that weird face. She like makes like a
Right.
and then she's just
Right.
like
It's like that
settles
was
out.
something that allowed the spirit to enter her or something.
Yeah, something. And then
Because then she's suddenly like on the fucking attack mode.
yeah. Oh shit, yeah. And then she starts fucking chasing. Oh my god. I'm remembering it. Okay. So she fucking Steve comes downstairs and is like, what the fuck is going on? I hear
Peter comes on stage.
sizzling skin. And
Peter
he comes
comes
downstairs and he just sees the charred, dead body of his dad. And then his mom is literally like perched up like a spider in the top corner of the house, which holy
So like
shit.
a ninja would be waiting to pounce his prey.
Yeah.
She's up in the fucking corner, like
Perched
all
like a
fours
ninja.
are on like a different corner of the wall. She's fucking perched like she's gonna drop down and fucking
ninja
catch
assassinate
a web.
this guy. And then like
And
he turns and he
it's
sees
there,
like
it's on it for an uncomfortably long time. That shot,
Yeah.
like enough to where you're like, what the fuck is that in the corner?
yeah. And then like they show her and then he turns, he doesn't see her. He sees like a human, another naked human in the doorway. And then she drops down and chases fucking Peter. And Peter's like, what the fuck? And he just runs away. And then he gets up into the attic. And Annie is just banging her fucking head against like the door or whatever. It was super disturbing. She was just like, I mean, just like.
Well, yeah, because she had her spider powers activated.
Yes.
So this is an attic. And so the stairs come down and he was able to pull the stairs back up and then latch the trap door. Okay, so this is on the ceiling. And when he says she's banging her head on it, she is
on the ceiling,
to the wall like Spider Pig, but Homer's not under her, and she's just banging her head like.
Did you just make a Simpsons the movie reference at me just now?
Yeah, I might
this
have.
Podcast is over, guys. Good night. Have a good night. This
Let's
holy
bring some
shit.
real prime cinema into this fucking podcast.
God, dude. That is the first time I've heard somebody reference the fucking Simpsons movie in 5 years. Like, holy shit, Spider Pig. Fuck, dude. I cannot believe you just mentioned that fucking movie.
But,
what the fuck?
I mean, it was kind of a silly scene. Like, because she was going like faster than human speed of headbanging against this fucking wall.
And Peter's just screaming like, "Oh my god, Mom! What the fuck? What's going on? What,
stop,
mommy?
Stop, mommy!
Mommy!" And then what is? Oh, and then he sees like a shrine where the dead body of Gran used to be, and it's a picture of him with his eyes cut out, and then he just fucking jumps out of the fucking window that's in the attic. And then
so like this is the point where I'm completely lost.
Same.
I don't know what happened at that point that made the banging stop, what made him decide to get up and look around, and what made him decide to just fall out the window.
Yeah, I don't know.
And then get up and continue, and then
remember, he fucking hits the ground, and then the light converges on his soul or his heart, and then it evaporates, and then he gets up.
Oh, okay.
So obviously he was possessed by something.
Oh, yeah, because Joanne explains it at the end. She's like, we killed your
whole family
body before, well, your previous wrong body.
Oh, wait, and then, doesn't he see... Oh, wait, no, the reason he fucking jumps out the window is because he looks up and his mom is cutting off her own head.
Oh, yeah, he starts seeing some shit.
He like, looks up in the attic, and
like
her mom,
sawing her
his
head off.
mom, is floating in the air, sawing off her own head.
Right, I can't believe I forgot that. Well, I didn't
Yes.
forget it. I just forgot it was at that point.
Yes,
Like,
and
how
then
did
he
she get
fucking
inside?
jumps out the window and dies or something.
Well, there's also isn't there also 3 naked people in that scene?
Oh, they're in. Oh, yeah, actually, and then there's tons of naked people in the attic too.
Yeah, there's naked people in the attic looking
That's
at
why
him.
he jumps out.
There's naked people outside too.
Yes, so there's 3 naked people in the attic. His mom is sawing off her own head. He goes, "Fuck all this noise!" Jumps out of the attic window. I think something happens, but the light
Well,
that
you
we
hear
talked
the
about earlier
yeah, and you hear the
converges
thud
on
of the
his
head.
chest.
You
And
you don't see the mom cut her head off, but I did like that you hear the thud
you
after
hear
he's
the
out the
thud.
window.
Yeah. So she's like halfway through her head. He jumps out the window. The light converges on him. He gets up. You hear the thud. He walks. He like gets up, and then we get to the wee part.
Yep, my notes say we.
The headless body of his mother floats out of the attic, floats across the driveway, and zips up into the fucking treehouse.
Like it's got a tractor beam. She just
Yeah, it just goes
the ladder. She
whoop, just goes right up, and you were just like wee as the fucking body was flying around, and I was just like, oh my god, you were making this even worse.
I was like, what the fuck is this? What's happening right now?
And then he walks towards the fucking treehouse, and there are like hundreds of naked people. I don't know if they're dead, but they all look like gray. All the dead people.
Yeah, they're all like
gray.
lined in the forest.
Yeah, and they're just like looking at him and smiling and naked, and their penises are out and shit. And he like climbs up into the treehouse, and he like looks, and there's like a shrine with like the severed head of his grand on it, and then like there's the bowing dead bodies of grand and his mom. There's like a picture of the grandma on the wall, and he's just like, what the fuck is going on? There's like a bunch of naked people bowing, and then Joanne goes, we banished your body. We've made you we've summoned one of the 7 kings of hell, Lord Paimon, and he is now inside your body.
Again, this is what I'm talking about. They don't leave any loose ends. Tells you everything that they did.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it explains it for sure.
They corrected his first female body, which was
Charlie.
Yeah. And then Charlie went into the preferred male body, which was the vessel of Peter.
Mm-hmm.
And then to do all that,
you need to make sacrifices.
It all had to start with the grandma. The grandma was the queen, and they knew from the start that she was going to be the one that has this family, and that's why they all worshipped her and shit.
Right. So
because they knew she
grandma,
was
and it makes
prophecy
sense.
Queen.
It actually makes sense looking back on it. Like, actually, I'm doing like analysis as we're talking about it. So the scene where we talked about, where the mom says, "She made me have you. I wanted to have a miscarriage."
Mm-hmm.
Like, it takes a much more sinister tone when you understand that the grandma only planned to have kids and grandkids so that she could summon a dark deity. That is fucked. So like her and like the whole like she's got claws in my daughter thing, like the relationship between the daughter Charlie and Gran is fucked up too, because you know she was from day one trying to get these kids to be vessels for a dark god. Wild. So, and also, oh shit, so like
now I'm trying to remember what that fucking note she left says. Like
we all
have to make we all have to make sacrifice.
No, I got it right here. I wrote it down. This is the note. It says, "Our sacrifice will pale to the rewards." Our sacrifice is the big word in that, not the sacrifice or my sacrifice. Our sacrifice,
right?
Which means the whole family. So they basically, I mean, so Annie says that she thinks that her mom was schizophrenic. And I'm starting to think that that is not true. Okay, so that's the end of the movie, by the way. They put a crown on the dude's head, Peter's head, and the movie just fucking ends.
Yeah, because he's Paimon.
Because he's like, the demon god Paimon.
Well, because Joanne comes up and she's like, she's like, "Hello, Charlie. You are now Paimon.
Yeah.
We corrected your first female form. You are in the preferred male form. You are going to, rule over everything.
Yeah. So that's the end of the
Got all
movie.
his new naked family.
Gross. So here's what I'm thinking. So Annie thinks that her mom had schizophrenia. I think that is now not true, that she was just an evil witch, like an actual witch.
Mm-hmm.
She most likely drove or forced her brother to kill himself. Gran also probably killed or forced her husband to kill himself because
Mm-hmm.
both of them are dead. She like abused and disturbed Annie, knowing that the whole plan is to summon Payman using the vessels of Annie's children. So, do you think that Gran possessed Annie? Do you think that's who possessed her body?
I don't know who was behind any of the possessions. That's one question I'm left with.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Because it would make
I don't know. I don't
sense.
know at what point, the grandma has anything to do with anything as a spirit, or is it
Mm-hmm.
Joanne doing all of this?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Because
because it was like a plan to orchestrate all this
yeah,
after her death.
right,
That's why she left the note about the sacrifices.
right.
Um, but then I think Joanne though was the one who was able to kick all this into motion.
Oh, for
I don't really
sure.
know how, um, but she was
Well,
definitely able to.
because she was up to some shit. She made the ritual. She put the body in the house.
Right, she
She
was
did the
probably the one
symbols
making Peter feel the way he was feeling. That's why
for
that
sure.
shrine was there,
Yeah,
just because she was probably like,
up
putting
to
that
shit.
energy on Peter that whole time.
Yeah, and that's why he was getting so disturbed and having such a bad time. I'm starting to think that after Steve lights on fire, the spirit of Gran possessed Annie's body. That's why she's so cool with like cutting off her own head, because Grandma knows that I need to cut off my own head for this to work. So she tries to get Peter, chase him down and get him because she knows that Peter needs to be captured. And so I'm honestly thinking Gran took over Annie's body. And
Okay,
then
that would explain a possession.
she cuts off her own head because she knows that she needs to, which is, just like the sacrifice of her daughter.
Because
She's willing to do it.
the burning of the book and Steve dying was definitely a trigger for that to happen, her to get possessed somehow.
Yeah.
But the question is who?
What possessed by what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm thinking
So,
I'm thinking it's just whatever this Payman spirit is, but that would be Charlie.
yeah. So, okay. And then Payment is summoned, but like, so yeah, it's really twisted when you really think about like the grandma's plan the entire time. The way she was like, she forced me to have kids was so that she could do this giant ritual, which is fucking wild. So it actually does make sense if you think about it. It doesn't just give you the answer, but the answer is definitely grandma planned all of this, and she did not love anyone in the family. She did not give a shit about anybody. All she cared about was summoning this deity. Wild. That's fucking brutal, dude.
Yeah,
So what do you
that was a
think?
fucking-
What do you think of the movie now? With
Now that
the
we have time to
information
recap and explain it, when I finished the movie and it ended, I was lost. I was kind of mad, like I was left with that ending because it's not what I was wanting. I was
Yeah.
hoping it was just Ghost, man. Like I was hoping she gets to talk to Gam Gam or something. Gets
Right.
to talk to Charlie, and then shit goes wrong with the ghost. I didn't realize it was a literal demon.
Yeah.
We're dealing with literal demons here, people. The fucking the whole page with the Payman book
Yeah.
that you see, it should have been like a more telltale sign to me that that's what this is going to be. But again, I didn't think we were going to go that hard with it. Like
Yeah.
we're going to summon Payman.
Yeah.
We're going to go through this ritual to do it, and that's what the movie is. It's much less a ghost movie than I thought it was going to be.
It's more of a possession movie. It's like
Right.
yeah.
More of an occult movie.
It's an occult movie. That's a good word for it. So now that we've
I think I like it more now that we've been able to explain it and everything. And I appreciate the ending of it more, how it all worked up.
Because it makes total sense if you have all the details in front of you. Like if you took fucking notes.
Yeah,
If
and
you
it's
like,
just like the last 10 minutes though. Maybe don't make her fly. Maybe don't make her somehow teleport into the room with him.
yeah,
I know. I
that
guess
was
it was
weird.
demon magic, but demon magic doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, because most of it was pretty grounded for the most
Right,
part.
believable and grounded, and that's the whole thing. Is like the whole movie is like felt so real. The conversations they're having, like
Uh-huh.
the grief they have, like everything's just fucking down to earth and real. And then all of a sudden, you've got headless mom flying up into the fucking treehouse.
Yeah, but I think it was because
Whee!
she was possessed by like a super powerful dark spirit. Dude, the
So,
imagery in this movie is pretty fucking wild. Like the that shrine is kind of disturbing. Like it's like a mannequin with like a head on it and like a really spiky crown. And there's like just like a bunch of naked people everywhere. It's fucking weird.
well, the
But
crown that he had was like a weird skin condom thing.
was it?
It was like leather.
I thought it was like a Burger King crown.
His crown was different, the one they actually put on Peter.
Mm.
Than like the crown they had on Grandma was like a Jesus crown.
Yeah.
And she was that mannequin was carrying the weird stick thing that
Yeah, and
Payman
there's like a
had.
bird cage. Yeah.
Right. So that was obviously supposed to be a statue of Payman. But then when it came down to getting his fucking crown, it was like a weird condom.
Gross. I remember that. I wasn't paying enough attention. I was like, oh, that looks like a Burger King crown. But I like the movie a lot more now that we've kind of broken down what happened. You know, Grand, this was her whole plan. Everything was intended. Like when you look at some of the details they fed you early and you really think about it, like she definitely killed Annie's brother. She definitely killed her dad or her husband, or, you know, her husband was down to do it too. I don't think so because it mostly just shows Grand. But the movie makes a lot of sense after you think about it and you talk. It's good to have someone to talk to about it, and you know, you and I just kind of bounced off of each other, and I think we figured it out. Feels good to me.
Yeah.
I
I
feel like
mean,
I have a good understanding of the movie
I
now.
don't need to know that much about the occult stuff to really get it.
No,
Um,
all you need to know is
I don't
like
need to
what
know
led
about the
into it.
72 demons, even though one of them has like 6 goat legs, and that's all
You,
he has.
Jesus Christ, you better burn those magic words you wrote down like right
I,
now.
I'm doing a Wikipedia deep dive, and I probably shouldn't.
Don't say any of the words out loud.
Don't invoke this.
Yeah, don't invoke Paimon. But
So
yeah, so looking
But
like
it's all about. I got to be able to say this word though. It's all the whole movie is
okay.
about the book of
Oh boy,
Abramelin,
a Bramlin,
and Abramelin and summoning Payman.
the
So
book of
Payman
a
is one
Bramlin.
of the demons in that book. There's like 12 of them, and it's fucking magic that you shouldn't be dealing with. Otherwise, your sister's gonna get her head knocked off by a
The
utility
book
pole.
of a Bramlin
Abramelin.
tells the story of an Egyptian mage named Abraham who taught a system of magic to Abraham of Worms. Oh boy. The
But it's not like
Grimoire. The book of
it's religious,
sacred
but it's
magic of
not like
Abraham the
Jesus religious
mage.
because it's not Israel and stuff like that. It's written in Germany is the earliest text they can find.
The text is not the German. Holy shit.
Yeah, it's a deep dive. I wouldn't fucking get into this because like I
The
don't think you want
practical
any of this to
magic of
happen.
Amberlin centers around
Utah.
a set of talismans composed of magic word squares. These are similar to traditional magic squares, though the latter are usually composed of numbers, while Amberlin squares contain letters. Commonly, word squares are used as puzzles or as teaching aids for students. In the context of Amberlin, the focus becomes mystical, so that each square should contain words or names that relate to the magical goal of the square. Oh, shit. Wait. For example, a square entitled "To Walk Underwater for as Long as You Want" contains the word mayim, the Hebrew word for water. A square for recovering treasures of jewelry began with the word typhera, which can mean golden ring. Oh, shit. Are we getting in? Am I gonna?
It's real magic, dude.
This is actual real shit.
It's fucking real magic.
Which makes it even more disturbing.
Was all based on this
real
book,
shit.
And it was real magic.
That's
just don't fuck
spooky.
with real magic. I don't do it.
That makes it even scarier. Like when it honestly is like real magic. Like this is technically real magic. Oh shit, dude! Do you think I could walk underwater for as long as I want if I make like a magic square with words in it?
They mention it like it's one of the most basic fucking ones. Like it's spell.
Oh my god, dude! I'm getting a little.
This isn't shit you got to be dealing with.
No, dude, fuck that. You know how pissed my wife would be if I started doing magical spells.
Like, go on the page for Lesser Key of Solomon, and
Lesser Key of Solomon.
Payment is one of them. There's 72 of the 72 demons, and there's.
Dude, it's giving me auto suggestions. It's giving me suggestions. I typed the word lesser, and it was like Lesser Key of Solomon.
Yep.
Oh boy, what's up with this grimoire?
So
the 72 folks. Demons. Holy shit!
The podcast folks, I'm sure it's great for you to go on this Wikipedia deep dive with us when you can't fucking read anything.
Wait, where's Paimon? Let's see here. I don't see him.
Control F, Paimon.
I guess I could do that. Let's see. Control F. Paimo. Oh shit, King Paimon. Oh fuck, there he is.
Number
9. Prince Orabus, Duke Gremory, President Os, President Amy, Marquis Aureus, President Valak, Marquis Andres. Dude, the demons are described as being commanded by 4 kings of the cardinal directions.
You're saying all these, and eyes in the fucking underworld are opening up as you're saying them.
Oh no!
I'm like, saying my name? Saying my name?
Hey, I haven't heard my name in a while. Ooh, not good. I do not want Duke Voil to come through my computer.
Do you see the picture, though, of that fucking
the 6-legged goat, Boer? The 10th spirit who teaches moral and natural philosophy.
Yeah, this movie
is based on real magic.
It just touches the iceberg of this fucking huge grimoire of actual fucking demonic lore.
Which is really cool. I mean, it makes
really cool, yeah.
Makes it much more. I think when you do things like that, when you do sort of give us real things, deep down as humans, we know that these things that are being talked about are part of the real world. So I think that it makes it scarier. Like, you know, Paimon, like has such like a ring to it. Like you kind of know maybe in your ancestry you've heard it before, you know, and it's kind of spooky, and it makes like, especially when this movie's kind of confusing, and it's going to make you want to look stuff up. And when you start looking shit up, it starts like, there's King Paimon, dude. He's right there. I'm looking at him. Like I can click on his fucking Wikipedia page and I can learn about him. Like he's not made up. It's not like a fake word. This is literally a deity that existed. And that's
it's really cool when they do that, because there's like so much that's already there, already written, and already written extremely well.
Dude,
and they can just tap into it. It's like as far as video games go, Binding of Isaac.
Yeah,
that's all occult and it's all real. If you look up
like
any
Jesus
of those
imagery
names,
and shit.
Yeah, if you look up any of those names, it's like, oh, that's a fallen angel. It's like they all just borrowed that and adapted it to the game. And
oh my god! Okay,
the lore
hold on, pseudo monarchia demonum, or false monarchy of demons, first appears in the appendix of De Prestigiis Demonum. Hold on.
How old?
This 1577. So the Dark Ages, an abridgment of a grimoire similar in nature to Ars Goetia, the first book of the Lesser King of Solomon. It contains a list of demons and the appropriate hours and rituals to conjure them. This is a real book that you can buy, and you can summon demons. No thanks.
From the fucking Dark Ages, yeah.
From the fucking Dark Ages,
dude. That's when humans had gotten to the point where they figured out magic, and then we're past the point where they have buried magic dead and gone to where it can't fucking come back. Stop trying to bring this shit back.
Oh my god, dude. So cool. I am not gonna look into.
That's why the Dark Ages happened, is they figured all this shit out, and they were like, "Oh my god,
they caused the Black Plague, and
what have we released?"
All right, well, I think we've got enough. We've put enough information in these people's heads, especially now they're going to start.
I just want to talk about my note here. I had a saggy tit.
Oh,
her dioramas. One of them had her hanging over her bed with her saggy tit out. Yeah, I just want to talk about that.
Talk about it.
I just did.
Oh, all right.
That was it.
That was it.
How much I wanted to talk about it.
All right, fair enough. Yeah, that was a weird one. There's some weird dioramas, but if you like this, you should give it a watch. It's a pretty fucking sweet movie. We obviously glossed over some stuff, missed some stuff, but it's worth a watch, especially since it's kind of creepy, man. Especially this stuff that I'm finding out after I've watched it. So, what do you give? So the one I'm looking at right now has a list of 69 demons. What do you rate this movie out of 69?
Out of 69, huh? I'd probably get I'll give it a President Oze 69.
Oh shit, where's he at? President Oze, a 56?
Yeah, probably.
Not bad. That's actually a pretty good rating. I'll give it a our Marquise Aureus, a 49 out of 69.
Damn, that's pretty high.
Yeah, not bad. The movie was good.
It's just the end confused me.
Yeah.
And it got a little silly. I understand it was a powerful demon, but just a little more down to earth, please. Not up into the fucking treehouse. All
right. Yeah, I can agree with that. But pretty good ratings. If you like this, give it a watch. Shit, it's worth a watch. It's worth watching it once. So, any closing words, Quentin, or was the tit thing the last thing you wanted to say?
Yeah, I want to end on the tits.
All right, that's it then. Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching.
Bye.
Thanks, Quentin.